What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Pat's Outdoors Adventures. Before I get into today's adventures too much, I kind of wanted to take a minute and talk to you guys. We had started a series probably a year or maybe even almost 2 years ago on this boat where we started restoring this Stratus 273, which is my 1998 Stratus 273 with a 1999 Evinrude 115 two-stroke motor on it. But we had started a little series where we were restoring it. We painted the whole entire boat trailer, sanded it, painted it, clear coated it the right way. We also did a boat shifter, a couple other things on it that we were just restoring on the boat. So anyways, we never really picked back up on that series, so that's kind of what today's going to be about. Today we're going to be restoring the carpet on this boat. We already actually did start this process, so we're just going to kind of pick up the very end of it and just kind of show you guys what we did on the last few pieces here. But carpet, as you can see, is in terrible condition. The old carpet is literally ripped up, tore up, barely hanging on. It needed this nice new beautiful look to it. We still got to cut some of the holes for the seats to go down into and all that. See, we also have my normal seats actually taken off and sitting down there because we're going to get some new ones of those too because they're faded and stuff. So that'll be part of this series as well. That's pretty much what's going to be going on today. We're going to be restoring the carpet on this 1998 Stratus 273. That way we can do a bunch of more efficient adventures for you guys this summer and do it not looking so janky, if you will. Anyways, show what all you'll need for this job. You'll obviously need the marine grade carpet. That's very important that you use marine carpet. Next thing everybody's going to be wondering is, what are you using to get this glue to stick to your boat? This is what we were recommended right here. This is contact cement by Weldwood. Of course, I did see a lot of people talking about the different marine glues and stuff like that, but to be honest, it was kind of hard to find here locally, and it was also really expensive. Not that this stuff was cheap, because it was still about $55, $60 for this gallon, but hey, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Anyways, moving on from there, you will need a lighter, you'll need a tarp or an old blanket or something to lay down so you can paint your door pieces on. That way you're not getting glue all over your garage floor. You'll need a tape measure, obviously, to measure some stuff. I also went ahead and got some contact adhesive Gorilla Glue. That way, if there's any little small edges or little crevices that needed to be glued, you'll need a Sharpie or something to trace out on your carpet. Some masking tape, obviously, to tape off some stuff for glue. A drill with a Phillips head or a flat head, or honestly, whatever kind of screws and bolts are on your doors and hinges that you'll be taking off. You also might need a flat head. You'll need that to open the glue up too. Anyways, I got this sharp little poker tool here to poke the carpet actually when I'm trying to find the boat holes after the carpet's on there. Might need a pair of pliers or something, a sander and sanding pads obviously, and then you'll need some rubbing alcohol to clean off the doors or the boat deck whenever you get done sanding it. And then I have a bunch of clothespin hanger things here. That way whenever I fold the carpet around the corners of the doors, I can kind of clothespin the carpet to kind of clamp it while it dries. Of course, you'll need some paint brushes to paint the glue onto the doors and the carpet themselves. And we'll also need some latex gloves, which I have sitting over there also. You don't technically need this, but I do have access to it. So whenever I take these doors off, to blast them with the pressure washer once will make the sanding process a lot easier. So if you have a pressure washer, that will help you out a ton in this process. But pretty much everything we're going to need for this process for the most part. Let's go ahead and get into doing the first step, which will be taking the doors off. By doors, I mean like the compartment doors, the little latch doors. We've pretty much done a majority of the whole boat. We still got two little latch doors back here to do, and then we got the whole bottom floor piece. So figured I'd save kind of the harder ones and the bigger pieces to kind of do for you guys and show y'all. Also didn't want to make this video multiple hours long showing every piece and stuff we did, because it's pretty much the same idea for each piece. So first thing I'm gonna do is see what kind of stuff we'll need to get this off. Looks like those are Phillips head bolts holding that bracket on. Then from here, we'll go ahead and start taking these screws out that are holding the hinges on. There's door number one. Take these screws off of this hinge. There's door number two. Now that we got the doors off, the next step is going to be taking these hinges off, which they got both self-locking bolts on the back. Hold that just in case, although most of them have seemed to came off without even touching them. Then your bracket will come right off. Go ahead and do the same thing on this one. Take this bracket off. Flop right off like so. The next step will be taking the door hatch, latch, whatever you want to call it, device off, which is actually really simple. If you look on the bottom side, on these ones here, is literally just this plastic little nut. Just unscrew it, comes off. This little gasket, take that off, and then just wiggle it, boom, till it comes out, and boom, just like that, you got your doors disconnected all the way, hinges off, door latches off. So let's go ahead and grab them both and take them outside here in the driveway. That way we can go ahead and rip the carpet off. See, it's pretty much already actually ripped all the way up, so no problem there. That's pretty much that. So now I'm gonna go ahead and hook my pressure washer up, and we're going to go ahead and blast these things off. That gets a lot of that goo and gunk and little pieces of carpet off of there. So now we're off to sanding these things down. I am gonna bring the carpet around these corners and fold them over. So I'm gonna sand this little edge first, and then I'll flip them over and sand the whole thing. Go ahead and flip them over and do the edges and the top. Alright, that's the first one. Now we'll go ahead and do the second one. That way, once you're done sanding, you can get some rubbing alcohol and the rag and clean them up real good. Honestly, just pour a good little bit on there. Start cleaning all the sides and corners and everything off. Just like that. You got them completely prepped and ready to be glued to some carpet. So next we'll be taking these pieces here inside to the big carpet roll and trace them out, and I'll explain to you guys, you know, you got to add a little bit for the turn down and overhang. So as you guys see, we're in here in the carpet cutting station now. Set this down here. I did the math. It's about 2.5 inches or so of overhang. So once I got that there, just going to take this Sharpie, just going to go around, trace it out, remove it. Now we'll just cut out these 2 squares, and those will be a perfect fit for this. Let's go ahead and cut down this outside trim. Now that we got the piece cut out, we're gonna just retrofit it once, just kind of line it up with the original line that we traced out in it. And we're just going to make sure that we got enough overhang everywhere. We are looking good. Now we have both of our pieces exactly cut. On the corners right here, where they go to fold in, obviously you'll have overhang. So what you gotta do is take your scissors and just cut a little square patch out of each corner, like so. Do that on all 4 corners. That way whenever you put it on there and you fold it over, it doesn't overlap any, and you have just enough to make a perfect corner. The next thing we're gonna do is we're going to take the pieces of carpet, get the lighter here, and we're going to burn the slight edges just like that. That will keep the carpet from fraying and starting to tear apart in the future. Once you do that to both pieces of the carpet, you're gonna go ahead and lay out your tarp, trash blanket, whatever you got, and you're going ahead and make up a little gluing station. My strategy there is going to be, I'm going to get the contact cement and my brush, and I'm going to brush just the inside trim of the compartment door. Once I do that, I'll flip it over and I'll paint the entire top side and all the outer corners. Then I will cover the piece of carpet with the glue, set it in place, and then you'll kind of fold these over. I'll use the clothespins to kind of put around the carpet and hold where they need to be. So let's go ahead and do it. Like I said, we're just gonna dip it down in there, paint about, you know, halfway, 3/4 of the way down, all the way around this inside trim here. So we're gonna go ahead and flip this thing over now. So you'll see I just put a big glob there just to kind of make time go quicker. Just kind of spread it all around once. Make sure you cover the entire piece. Go around the side edges. Now we'll move over to the piece of carpet here. And like I said, this is where you really want to start moving fast. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pour out the rest of this can on here. You definitely can't put too much on the carpet. You'll notice it starts to dry up really quickly. The edges is what really matters on it staying and lasting and holding for a lot of years. Now, like I said, make sure you line it up with your lines as good as you can and drop it into place just like so. And like I said, I'm gonna fold these corners over. I'm gonna start in the center, and I'm just gonna start putting clothespin going all the way down it. Once you get all those secured, go ahead and grab it and find somewhere to dry, because it does take 7 days to fully dry. So it'll be dry to the touch in a couple hours, but it won't fully bond for like 7 days. So definitely gotta let it dry for a couple days before you mess with it any. So after that, we'll go ahead and set up to do our next compartment door. We got that one over here drying. We got the other one over there drying. So we'll let those sit overnight. Alrighty guys, what is going on? It is the next day. These boards have actually dried tremendously great. Of course, they won't be cured for days, like I said, but they're definitely good enough to go ahead and put the hinges back on them. That way I can at least mount them back on the boat. But before we do that, we'll go ahead and get the Gorilla Glue contact adhesive that I got. And you see I'm gonna just stick that nozzle in there a little bit. Just put a little glob going down it, just to kind of keep those ends from coming off. Now we're just gonna go around this, taking these paper clips off. Alright, so the next part here, I'm gonna use this little poker tool I was talking about in the beginning, and we're just gonna feel around through the carpet until we find all the holes that the screws go through for the bracket, and then we're gonna mark them with a little circle with the Sharpie. So I'm feeling around for it, and I kind of feel the hole right there. Open that hole up, and I'm gonna kind of keep my eye on it and just circle it with the Sharpie so I can find it later. Do that all the way down. Boom. Then you can see once you got them all marked out, that just makes it easier for you to line the bracket up with when you're going to screw the bolts in place. So of course, go ahead and do that to the other door as well. And once you got all those marked out, of course, the next step is just putting the bracket on. And just line those up and screw them in. And then we'll go back and put the little locking nuts on the back of them. Then we'll just take it over here, kind of set it in place, make sure that that is exactly what will happen whenever it's in place, which it is. Boom. So now I know I can copy that same exact bracket positioning onto this other compartment door. And we'll go ahead and get ready to lift it up in place like this while I get in there and line it up and screw the screws in. Before we do that though, we're going to go ahead and get a razor, and we're going to cut out this little circle for the door latch. It doesn't have to be perfect because it is going to get covered up by the handle and stuff anyways, but then get your little latch thing right here. We'll go ahead and put it through. Put your little rubber gasket on there, and then tighten the little plastic nut back down. Boom. I got that screw lined up with the hole in the boat on that end and on this end down here. That way I can just go ahead and tighten them up all the way. Got the door all the way back on, latch in place. That's it. Like I said, you obviously repeat that process on both doors on both sides. So now I'll go ahead and throw that door on. And boom, just like that, you got both of the rear compartment doors completely put back together. Now we're ready to move on to the last piece, which is the floorboard. As you guys can see, the floorboard will be a little bit trickier though, because there's a piece that goes up underneath the footwell, and they got the little drain here, and you see it's a pretty odd shaped thing, but the carpet isn't really exactly in line with where it's supposed to be, so I'm gonna add a little bit to the end lengths. That way, hopefully it'll fit down in the grooves exactly where it's supposed to be. So let's go ahead and hop up in here, take those screws out of the drain hole. You might have to get a little flathead or something and kind of pry up this drain. It should come right on out like so. Now we are ready to go ahead and pull this whole piece of carpet out. You see it's already been coming up, flapping in the wind, so we'll just go ahead and start tugging on it here. Trying to keep it all intact in one piece, that way I can trace it out nice and neatly onto the new carpet. Reach way up under here, under the dash, kind of start to pull it out from up underneath there. Just like that, the old carpet is removed. There's the old piece right there, and here's the new carpet. So now that I got the old piece of carpet laid on top of the new carpet, I'm gonna trace a little bit wider all the way around. That way I have a little bit extra so I can trim it down to the exact right size. And just start it right here, and just kind of, like I said, we'll kind of keep about 1 inch, go all the way around. That gives us something to kind of start with right there. Follow this little outline trim I made around. Once you get that piece cut out, you can just start to lay it down in the floorboard of the boat. And like I said, you'll just kind of take your time trying to work it into place and get it cut out exactly perfect. Make sure it's all flat. I'm gonna make sure my line is about to where it needs to be up against here and over there some. You see I got a nice little bit of overhang over here that I'll have to trim down. Once I got all that smooth and settled right there, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of start to cut this piece so it can kind of divide this little wall right here. I'm gonna grab my scissors and just kind of start to make a cut right in line with this wall here, about like so. And just keep kind of trying to work it around until you got this whole little corner deal worked out right here. Looks like I might need to cut a hair more down. Once you got the carpet completely trimmed out exactly how you want it, go ahead and pull the carpet back out, and then we'll be moving on to sanding the floorboard. But before we do that, as you guys see, there's a slight little bit of damage right there and right there. So before we put that floor back down, we're going to be repairing that with this 3M Bondo liquid resin for fiberglass, which you use with this fiberglass mat. And of course you need some liquid hardener to harden the liquid resin. Kind of get my sander and just kind of sand these areas that we're going to be working on, clean those up, and kind of get them ready to be patched up. Alright, y'all, now that we got all that cleaned up, sanded, and all that, we're going to go ahead and read the directions on this liquid resin. You can add 1/4 of the can and 1/4 of the tube of hardener, which is right here, or pretty much every fluid ounce you can add 10 drops of the stuff to. Then you'll put a slight coat of it on the area. Then we'll cut a piece of our fiberglass cloth. We'll lay that on the area, and then we'll paint over it again heavily with the stuff. First, prepare our fiberglass mat. Once you got all your little sheets of fiberglass matting cut out, next we'll be moving on to mixing the liquid up. Pour some of that down in there. I'd say that's about 1, 2. So that's about half of it. So I'll call that 6 ounces. And to every 1 ounce, put 10 drops of resin. So I'll put about 50 or 60 drops of this stuff in here, and then stir it up. 6, 7, 8, 9, 50. Now we'll go ahead and stir that up really nicely. Up in the boat here, I'm gonna start with this big piece because it's gonna be kind of the hardest, because there's such a big crack. I'm actually gonna use a couple sheets of this stuff as like a filler, if you will. So, and I'm just gonna kind of layer this coat down into that crack a little bit. Put it all in this area. Now, start out with these little patches and kind of put those down first, just to kind of fill in some of that area where that crack is. Grab one of these, set it in there. Now I'm gonna get my brush again and kind of just go over it. Boom. Just like that, you see it kind of starts to immediately adhere and soak down right into where it's wanting to be. I'm gonna go ahead and slap this final piece over top of the whole thing. Do this little spot here now. We'll just get a little bit of it, kind of slap it over that spot, put the patch on it, and then soak the patch down. We'll go ahead and do that to all these spots that need it. Catch you guys when we're done. I'm sure you guys can see we got all the spots repaired and patched up that needed to be. So now we just gotta let that dry and cure for about 24 to 48 hours. We will catch you guys probably tomorrow or the next day whenever it's fully dry. Alrighty guys, we are back. It is the next day. I mean, this thing is hard as a rock. So I went ahead and got my sander and just very lightly sanded on top of it, just so the glue kind of has something to adhere to. So now we got the whole entire floorboard repaired, sanded, cleaned up, ready for the carpet to be slapped down on it. So we probably will get my masking tape and just tape off around the edges, just so we don't get any overpaint on anything. We got all that taped off. So all we got to do is glue that floor up nice and well. Got my gloves on. I've recruited some help from my girlfriend. Let's go ahead and do it. We got the thing of glue here. I'm actually gonna go ahead and get the bucket and just pour a little slight bit just to make it a little bit quicker. I feel like it's gonna start running down. I'm gonna go with that for now. I'm gonna try the same thing up underneath here, really. Just kind of trying to work this all the way up under there. She's maneuvering that stuff around. We'll catch you guys whenever we get over to doing the carpet. We're jumping over here to the carpet now, and we're just gonna do the same tactic here. We're just gonna quickly kind of pour some on it and swish it around because the time is ticking. Just meet me over there. Start with this corner and just put it about where it needs to be, up against the bottom. I gotta come over my way some. Guys, y'all see we're just fitting it around. Maneuvering it into all the spots where it needs to be, working the carpet up. It actually looks freaking phenomenal right there. Go around once and just kind of make sure she's all good. There's that piece laid in there. We'll let this dry overnight and catch you guys in the morning. Alrighty guys, it is the next morning. The carpet looks like it is laid down nice and perfectly. It looks beautiful. So next we're gonna go ahead and get this little blue strip of tape, peel it on up. I'm gonna get this little piece of trim right here that goes along right here. And I'm just gonna put some super glue on it and stick it right on there. Just load her down with glue in there. Now we're just gonna place this right back on here where she goes. Push her on. We're gonna go up here to this front deck of the boat where the boat seat goes, the casting seat. And I gotta cut out the little hole for the post to go in. Luckily I had taken a picture of it, so I kind of have a general idea on where it is and how it looks. Feels like it's about right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and punch a hole through the carpet right there and just cut in a circular motion around it just to kind of start opening it up some. Test fit my post through there a few times just to make sure I got it all the way. Went ahead and tested to make sure the casting seat fits down in there, which it does nice and perfectly. Next thing you'll want to do is get a lighter and just kind of fray the edges of the hole just to keep it from coming loose. Being that you got to get down in there, I'm actually going to use a match. Now we'll do the same thing that we just did there. Do the same thing right here. Voila, ready for the seat post to go down in that one. That is the full process of the carpet, from ripping the old carpet off to sanding it down, prepping it to be re-glued, and re-gluing the carpet onto it, and even a little fiberglass repair. So now we're gonna be moving on to putting the new boat seats on the hinges. Just for reference, that's the current boat seats. There's all three of the new ones right there. The Marine Raider, red and charcoal. As you guys see, it's kind of dark maroon red, white with a little gray charcoal outline, which happens to be all three colors of the boat, which is absolutely perfect. So let's go ahead and bust one of these open, kind of take a look at it. Pop these on open a lot. There she is. Got a little strap to hold her closed. Bam. I mean, that compared to that. And don't get me wrong, we definitely went with a bold color choice, but I think it's gonna look great on the boat. So let's go ahead and work on getting these hinges switched over. As y'all see, it didn't come with these little cushion seat stoppers on the new ones. So we're gonna remove one of those from each side and put it on here, because as you see on the new bracket, there's only room for one of them, versus on the old bracket there was two. So they're a little beat up and stuff anyway, so we'll just grab the best two, put one on this side and one on this side. Just screw it right down onto the new one there. Take this one off. Screw her in this one. Then next we'll be taking the bracket off, like I said, so let's go ahead and pop this thing off. Bam. And like I said, we'll place it there, but first we're gonna take the little strap off of this one just so it's not in the way. The strap actually has to go on the bottom side of the bracket, that way it can come right out and still be usable. So boom, just like that, you got the bracket all the way on there. So go ahead and repeat that to the passenger seat, and then we'll show you how to do the seat that's on the post. I have one casting seat style post seat, and then I have this post seat, which is a normal one. But as far as for this one, it's actually pretty much a pretty easy standard bracket. Just 4 screws that go around and it bolts dead to the center. So go ahead and bust this new seat out right here. You can actually see the bolt holes where they go. They actually come with new bolts in them already. So go ahead and get my drill here. Take these 4 out. Once you got it removed, put this back right on there and zip these new screws right on in. And voila, just like that, there's that new seat post. Next, now that we got all those seats and everything assembled, we're gonna hop up in the boat and go ahead and install the driver and passenger seat. Got the driver's side seat here. Let's go ahead and hold the seat up like this while we screw the bracket into place right there. Just like that, we got them all screwed in, and the seat is completely in place. Right, same thing on this side. Get the seat in place here. Go ahead and drop the first screw through. And voila, there's the last seat, y'all. Shoo! Looks freaking awesome. That is the full part 3 of the boat restoration and boat seat replacement. So here is the final product. Like I said, we got the beautiful boat carpet laid out perfectly from head to toe. We got the brand new casting seat on the front here. Looks freaking great with the color matching scheme. Carpet all the way down around in the floorboards. We got the new passenger and driver seat We got the full back deck brand new with carpet. I mean, this thing looks freaking phenomenal, you guys. Don't get me wrong, it was a good bit of work, from ripping all the carpet off to sanding it all down to cutting and trimming all the new carpet and gluing it in and finding stuff to hold the carpet down in the spots and the corners, fraying the edges, everything. Just the whole nine. Doing it from start to finish was a long process. It is very doable yourself at the house. As you guys can see, I'm not a professional. I am not experienced whatsoever. This is my first time doing this ever. So you can definitely do this at your house and end up with a beautiful outcome. I mean, this thing just looks phenomenal. I cannot get over how good this freaking boat looks. I mean, it looks awesome, you guys. It looks freaking great. I'm so ready to get out and throw a couple lines on this thing, but that is part 3 of the boat restoration. I'm probably going to go ahead and end the videos here. Of course, if you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram at Pat's Outdoors Adventures. I'll leave the tag right here. And if for some reason I don't get back to you, you can feel free to hit me up on my main Instagram. I'll also leave that right here, which is 6B Pat, which we do a lot of car stuff and shenanigans over there. If you guys are into that type of stuff, you can go check it out. But that pretty much wraps up this restoration. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Make sure you guys hit the like button, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode of Pat's Outdoors Adventures. God damn. Oh, fuck, I just stepped in the glue.
Did you?
Yeah.